I just came to CBST a couple of years ago through Chaz Macrina. Our rabbi had asked for your Siddur, and he helped me get it. And then we actually came to New York. He gave us a tour of the synagogue. I fell in love then, and just have been getting stuff ever since, and then joined the Psalms class, and it was so meaningful to me. Harold's friendship has been so meaningful to me, and your teaching, of course, Rabbi, that I wanted to be a member.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Jim Brule also. Jim?
Yes, I joined because of this class. I've fallen in love with the shul. I am also a member of another congregation, and if I could be in New York, that's where I would be. But I love it. I've fallen in love with Rabbi Moskowitz. This has just ignited all of my spiritual juices that needed to be flowing, and it's wonderful. So I'm very glad.
Betsy Immersh.
Wow, wonderful.
Harold, I would very much like to find out information about how to do this. I'm a member of where I live, but CBS.
So go to the CBST website, and all the information is there.
Under what?
CBST.org, and it says join. We'd love to have you as a member. And Betsy Immersheim. Betsy, are you here?
I'm a member of another congregation, actually in the Upper West Side.
Good.
And this course has been just so astoundingly fabulous. It anchored and gave me survival during the pandemic, and studying with you, Rabbi, and with everyone in the class. And so I joined about a month ago. I've been coming to Friday night services almost weekly. And my daughter, who lives in Boston, loves services so much, so she's been joining me. So it's been just an honor, a pleasure, a gift. And
we love hearing that.
I'm
Wonderful.
glad to be.
So
and I've never been in your sanctuary.
I know. We are going to have such an event when we can all be back in there. We're going to have to celebrate all the bar mitzvahs, all the wedding blessings, all the conversions, all the things that we've done via. We're going to have people have name tags. Well, I guess we'll recognize each other, but it'll be so weird to, it's so much fun. We're going to have a major celebration.
I would like to say this face to face to you and thank you. You are the one many 25, 30 years ago. But you are the rabbi who has made me a Jew.
Wow.
And you are the rabbi who has made me go on this search for what it means to be a Jew, not so much in a religious sense, but as a person. And for that, I can never, ever thank you enough.
Beautiful, Karen.
I have everything through the years that you've given me. I take you to Torah study every Saturday. Believe it or not, I go to Torah study every Saturday. And for a non-religious too, I'm doing a lot of
So
beautiful.
I'm putting on my board member hat, I rarely do this. I'm putting on my executive committee hat, and I'm saying that there is someone on this call right now who has been thinking of joining CBST because of this class and hasn't yet felt they were asked. I am asking you, I am inviting you with open arms. Please join us. We have a sliding scale. It's an honor system. Go to cbst.org and join for a level that's comfortable for you. We understand there are people who have other financial commitments, who live out of town, who already have another synagogue membership. But we want, I don't know who it is.
We're all out of town now, aren't we?
All out of town. We want you to become a membership matters. We want you to become a member of CBST. And
that would be an honor.
When you do that, email me because I want to know who it is. Who it is who joined up today. And on that note,
Thank you, Harold. Beautiful. We didn't plan this, by the way. This was completely unplanned. Right. And I just want to say, budgets are where you see the values of any organization, right? You can have all the mission statements you want, all of the lofty words, and CBST's budget really reflects our values. And the fact that we have a membership that's based on fair share dues. Basically, what you can pay is what we asked you to pay. And that says a lot about the values of CBST. But it means everybody has to chip in because You know, ein kemach, ein Torah, we say. If you don't have the wherewithal, kemach means flour, literally the flour to make bread. So if you don't have the wherewithal, you don't have Torah, you don't have the lofty ideas. You got to have the tochasaf and tish, right?
All right.
Okay.
So after that,
After
televangelist,
that,
let's go to some beautiful music that Adria has for us today. Adria, what do you have for the last class of 5780?
All right, the pressure. I was looking through the music for the evening service for Rosh Hashanah last night, and the words of Ahavat Olam just struck me because it was just so apparent that everything that we do in this class and everything that the CBS community has done, the board, the clergy, our staff, is just a personification of the words of this. And so I decided to try and craft a little arrangement, missing the chorus and Joyce at the keyboard and the cantor. But I thought this would be appropriate for this morning.
beautiful. Wow, that is spectacular. That's a special setting that we do for the Days of Awe. And wow, we're going to miss Adria. Will not be able to be playing live this year. But I have to say, Adria, this is the live music we get to hear. You're giving all of us who are starved for live music in this class. I feel like it's incredible. So thank you.
Thank you.
But we have a very special treat on the tomorrow evening Rosh Hashanah service with Adria and her three other colleagues. Their string quartet have prepared something very, very, very special. We have some really fun thing. It's just spectacular, but I'm not going to say more about the string quartet that has prepared something. But Rosh Hashanah evening service is going to be really, really, it is spectacular because I already heard it, but no one else has. So you'll, Friday night, it's going to be very special. Okay, so Harold, where are we? And this is the book, by the way, that, this is the book.
I found it. I found it online. I can get it on. Everyone will have it this afternoon. How about that? That's Psalm 27.
Okay, there's one there. So it's only, he writes whole chapters about 10 Psalms.
Right.
So it's not with a translation. So there's,
Right.
so Harold and I will get to you this chapter on Psalm 27, which would be, again, read it with the text next to you and do it slowly. It's not a page turner. It's a page slow turner.
So I will be able to get that to everybody this afternoon. And I apologize. We have 13 more offerings today. We have 13 more offerings. We may not get through all of them today. We may put some of them off until when we get back together, which will still be the season for Psalm 27.
Yes.
But what I will be doing is I'm going to send the PDF of everyone's Psalm 27 offerings out this afternoon so that you all have them. You can print them out. You can keep them with your machzor so that if you want to read them on your own before or after services, or even during a little lull in service, you can pull out our Psalm 27 and read them. So with that, Rabbi, should we turn it over to Jeremy?
Yes, we traditionally recite Psalm 27 all the way through Hoshana Rabbah, which is near the end of Sukkot, which is considered the end of the season of repentance, the formal season. So that's why we say Psalm 27 all the way through. Okay, is Jeremy here today?
I am.
Oh, wonderful.
So Achat Shalti, one thing I ask. For David, who knows? Beloved, my light, my help, whom should I fear if I have you, my strength, who sustains my life? Before whom should I tremble? Those malicious bearers of evil who would devour me? Within and without they attack again and again, but each time their armaments stumble and fall. If I cry out, the world is against me. If I cry out, I am against me. I reach out to you and I call. One thing I ask of you, my beloved, that I may live in the house of your heart for all the days of my life, to feel the delight of you, to gaze into your eyes and disappear into their gaze, hidden from what tears me apart. Your love will lift me and cradle me, and from my being groans shall turn into songs of gratitude and praise as you pleasure my days and my nights. And if I wake in the night once again calling out, once again afraid, feeling broken and weak, temper my quaking with your lips, don't forsake me. Do not leave me alone with the dark. Let me know always that you will always be there. I will grow stronger and will need your care less and less, but I will always praise your caress. For me, it is holiness. Oh, my beloved, one thing I ask, that I may live in the house of your heart for all the days of my life.
Spectacular, Jeremy. Wow. Would you tell us a little bit about your writing this?
It's just a love poem.
Could you put it back up, Harold, while Jeremy talks a little? It's a little.
Of course.
Thank you, Harold.
It's a love poem, I sort of took God out of it.
You what? Say that again? I didn't.
I left God out of it.
I left God out of it.
And I wrote
I
a love
love the
poem.
line that I may live in the house of your heart. Wow.
Very strong.
Very, very beautiful. And gorgeous, gorgeous rendering of it, Jeremy. You're an amazing, amazing soul. Thank you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to share.
It's just amazing. All right, who do we have? Oh,
Cindy left.
beautiful.
Hi, everybody. So, yeah, this psalm, I actually collaborated with Lynn Rosenbluth. So Lynn and I talked about Psalm 27, and then she wrote a psalm, And we talked about that. And then I did a drawing based on both the
Beautiful.
Psalm as I read it and as we're studying it, and also as Lynn wrote. So when you hear Lynn's Psalm, which should be right after this, you can, see things in the drawing that relates to how she wrote it. And basically, when you were saying yesterday, Rabbi, you said that part of the challenge is to bring color, vibrancy, and energy to the blessings. So my drawings, I think, are trying to do that. So we're talking about being in the house of the Lord, or and we interpret the house of the Lord as being like nature, and we're part of nature, and nature is part of us, and we really feel closest to God or Adonai when we're in nature. And you can see in the drawing that the figure is sort of very part of nature, and the rocks lifting up and being a stable, presence of Adonai, and the wish to be seen and be seen by Adonai, and you can see the Hebrew. As again, I'm in the Aleph class, so there's my Hebrew that says Hineni, and
I just read.
There's a lot of other things, but I don't want to take.
That's pretty exciting. You're in the Olive class and you wrote that? How fantastic.
Yeah.
So someone is talking in the background, needs to mute themselves. Cindy, should we go to Lynn and have her read her offering while we're looking at the picture? Is that her? So here's I can't put two things on screen. Here is the image. Lynn, are you with us?
Yes.
Okay, Lynn, I'm going to find your offering that goes with that beautiful, beautiful graphic.
Keep them together.
Here it is. So would you like to read that for us now to go with the graphic?
Sure. Your house. The door is wide, the need is great, we come. The prophets and the short-sighted, the peacemakers and the peace breakers, the innocent and the guilty, the sick and the well-positioned, the builders and the destroyers, the doctors and the undocumented, the storytellers and the listeners, the colorblind and the colorful, the humble and the boastful, the athletes and the aesthetics, the judges and the judged, the free and the enslaved, the merciful and the unforgiving, the profound and the profoundly simple, the historians and the history makers, the artists and the muses, the hopeful and the hopeless, the teachers and the students, the givers and the takers, the dreamers and the distraught, the blind and the visionaries. And on and on and on we come. The road has been long. You stand on the threshold. Hineni.
So would you speak to us now, maybe the two of you, but start, Lynn, tell us a little bit about your writing this.
Well, I was inspired
A
by
very interesting structure. Go ahead.
By line 4, Acha Shehalti. You know, for years, that particular singing by CBST had stayed with me from the moment we hear it at Slichot until the final time we sing it. And when the holiday is over, and very often the rabbi announces that this is the final singing, I feel very wistful, and it's almost like a loss of something. You know, when we sing it at CBST, whether it's hundreds on Slichot or thousands at the Javits Center, we sing it at the same time, but we also sing it as each other. We all become, at that moment, I feel, our Jewish history and our wider community. So we're singing publicly, you know, with many different voices, but I think it's a common private aspiration, no matter how we define that for ourselves.
Beautiful. So tell us a little bit about the structure. This is a very interesting, I love the structure, and I love you've taken the kind of biblical parallelism of the original and done it in your own way, which is by each phrase having the anti-parallel, it's a parallelism, but it's, as I said, one of the three versions of parallelism is the opposites. And that's what you've done in here, which is beautiful because it's an echo of the biblical structure, of the biblical poetic structure, but totally different.
You know, I feel that I looked at us as a collective. We're everyone.
Yeah.
And there are parts of all of this, perhaps, in each of us or in a few of us. So I didn't want to make it as my own request. I wanted it to be a global request.
Beautiful.
And it was a nice challenge, and sort of we thought another step in terms of being creative with our interpretations to collaborate.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that. Tell me a little, Cindy, about the people down at the bottom. Are those the people of, and I guess these are some people also in this next to the hands, right? Are those?
Yeah, there's some people all along in different areas, down in the middle on the left and down on the bottoms, and a couple of people who are sort of trying to climb the rocks. But you know, in Lynn's psalm, she talks about all the different kinds of people, and we're all trying to, you know, we're all coming. We want to come to the house of the Lord.
So are those, and I love the idea of rainbows coming out of the clouds or the sun. I love that very much. And is that pastels or is it watercolors? What did you use here?
So it's mixed media. That's watercolor, pastel, charcoal, graphite, Conti crayon.
Oh, I see. You've got it written down right there. I didn't see that. Okay,
a bunch
great.
of drawing materials. Yeah. But,
love that. So even the media is a mixture. Like you're
yes.
Even the kind of the texture reflects the mixture of people. Beautiful.
Yes.
Love
but
it.
it was really wonderful working with Lynn on it. So
what a wonderful idea. I love that.
Now we have Marcia, who did some very interesting typographical treatments in her poem. Marcia.
And I even see an M dash there, Marcia. I see an M dash.
Well, you know, that's in honor of you and your learning, Rabbi. And Gaia Bernstein. When I read this, you'll see below, I have the tekiah, the blasts, and I'm not going to read all of them. I'm going to read the first line, and maybe just, I decided, let you hear it in your own mind and in your own heart. So kind of like a moment of silence, and then I'll continue. September 6th, 2020. I'm listening to Krista Tippett in conversation with poet Mary Oliver, who passed away last year. Awakened by the raucous blasts of wild geese, Oliver penned her classic poem. I wonder, where are the geese headed? What do they seek? In this moment of Elul, with personal reflections sharply focused, hearing nature's primal calls, piercing the sky on this crisp, clear morning, I know I will soon rise with my head covered, eyes gently lowered, embracing my beloved ever more tightly in the fragility of our lives, to the blasts of the shofar. Tekiah, Shvarim, Truah, Tekiah. I whisper to you, no, I beseech you, Open my heart, ease my journey. I confess I am tired, exhausted by the enemies within and the evildoers that surround me. I am weary being a witness to unspeakable pain and suffering. Cleanse me of the worthless thoughts clouding my way, disturbing my rest. Help me to be patient with myself and those I love. Help me to see what I do not yet see. Help me to be an instrument of change for justice and peace. Strengthen me, shower me, cradle me in your tent with love. Meanwhile, the wild geese high in the clean blue air are heading home again, over and over, announcing your place. I feel the quickened pace of their return, I know not where. And I too will return again, knowing just where. Tikiya, Shvarim Trua, Tikiya Gadola.
Oh, spectacular. And the interweaving of the different, of the Mary Oliver and the personal and the shofar itself. Wow. Hold on, Penny even likes it. Hold on, Penny.
That's another shofar.
It's another shofar. It's my personal constant shofar. Wow, Marcia. So talk to us a little bit about this.
Well, I actually started writing something about butterflies. And it was long and involved. And then I read the Gaia Bernstein again, and I just appreciate the psalm, and I'm always editing, you know, it's endless, the editing. So I wanted to simplify. And when I was done, I thought maybe it's too simple. But in a sense, the geese, and I really had heard the geese that morning. Susan said to me, you know, they were just so loud that morning. And I thought, oh my God, this is the synchronicity of this, of my listening to this, just blew me away. So it took me immediately to the heart of that prayer and hearing the shofar. In this season, this is the season where we hear that shofar, and it's the call that calls to all of us. And so I wanted to simplify kind of that moment where we're embraced by our talitot.
Yeah.
And, you know, what do we say to ourselves? What do I say to myself? So, you know, it's, for me, this prayer and the presence of God is always in the surroundings of nature. It's obviously also in other places in community where I feel it. So it's not just nature, but this season and that call is there for me. And Mary Oliver just punctuated it.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I think this is going to deeply influence my hearing the shofar this Sunday. This is definitely going to resonate as we hear the shofar. Again, no shofar on the first day of Rosh Hashanah this year because it's Shabbat. So the first time we'll have the shofar sound will be on Sunday morning. And this is definitely, this is what I mean, that the more you learn and the textures to add on to, so every time you come back to something and your connection and the connection to the geese and to Mary Oliver and to our own vulnerability will be definitely a layer for me this year. Thank you. Beautiful, just beautiful.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Ellen?
So mine is called Ahat Sha'alti, a love poem. One thing I ask of you, that you dwell in me all the days of my life. May I be a shelter for your light, that I may see the beauty of your presence in all your creations, even when you seem to have turned away. When I close my eyes to your world, I trip and fall on the stumbling blocks of fear and arrogance I have strewn on the path you have set for me. Open my eyes so I may walk unimpeded toward my neighbors with open heart and hands. Open my eyes so I may look in the mirror and see my failings, and out the window to see hunger, poverty, and racism. Give me the will to fight these enemies with grace and your help. May your light give me courage and comfort in the confrontations of my life. While I am in the land of the living, may your light in me flow out in the little kindnesses of a day. And after my death, may your spark, which never dies, light some corner of your world in need of light.
Ellen, this is incredible, so beautiful. And I just want to point out what spiritual maturity is in this prayer, this psalm. You're not asking for God to do everything for you. Like that's one level, right? When you pray and you say, please do something, God. You're praying here for your eyes to be open, for you to have will, for you to have courage, for you to be comforted, for you to be a source of light. That is so deep. That's a prayer, and you acknowledge, especially in this season, that our life is limited, and you pray that your death will continue to light some corner of the world. Wow, just gorgeous. Tell us a little bit about writing it, Ellen.
Well, first of all, thank you, Rabbi. So I believe very much in the idea of the divine spark that's in all of us. And so the more I read Psalm 27, the more I kept seeing it in the reverse. That the light is in me, that I'm the shelter for God's light. And then what am I going to do with that? And Rabbi Moskowitz is teaching every morning about looking at communal enemies. It's not just an outer enemy that might be one person, but what things in the community are things we want to help repair. So I tried to use the different images that are in Psalm 27 to talk about those things. And I also was inspired by Mary Oliver at the same interview. And in that same interview, she said
I haven't heard the interview. I have it marked, but I haven't yet heard it. I now several people. So you all inspired me to listen to it.
It's so very beautiful. And she reads a part of a poem where she said that she buries the dog in the garden and a rose bush grows on top. Mm-hmm. And it reminded me of my mother, who was a cardiac nurse, who always said to me, we have this electrical energy that's in our bodies. And she said, where does that go after you die? Energy never dies. And I just have always connected that with this idea of the divine spark, that that our light somehow, God's light somehow continues even after we die. So that's where it came from.
After my death, may your spark, which never dies, light some corner of your world in need of light. Spectacular. And this too is a love poem, just like Jeremy sees it as a love poem. I love that. Very different take, but both love poems. Love that. I'm going to definitely listen to that Krista Tippett today. Thank you. Several people
I'm going to find it and post it on the Facebook page.
She has some very special interviews. I mean, some of her interviews are some of the best, I think.
Julie Rayner, are you here?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Harold. After Psalm 27. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom then shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom then shall I be afraid? These are the words you left for me on a scrap of paper, a scrap of treasure found after your death. Oh, my dear Father, how I miss you. But thou art with me, thy love and thy spirit, they comfort me. My heart will not fear. One thing I long for, that I may dwell in the house of thy love all the days of my life, to behold the beauty, ye who set me upon a rock. I will lift my head, I will sing, yea, I will sing praises, sacrifices of joy. How we sang together as in the choir of angels. Hear me, I pray, O Father, when I cry with my voice. Have mercy also upon me. Answer me, please. Hide not thy face far from me. Turn not away in anger, my Father, who hast been my help forever, neither forsake me. I cried at the hour just before thy death, which I understood not. Seek ye my face, as I seek. I sought yours. How I longed to see you in my dreams, night after night, 6 months before you came to me. Daddy, I cried, there you are. You were riding the subway, perfectly ambulatory, one leg crossed over the other, reading the New Yorker, balanced on one knee. I'm fine, you said breezily, letting me know you did not suffer any longer, nor miss me. O God of my salvation, how I rent the cloth of my heart, my soul. My father, then my mother, leaving me forsaken. On the plain path of grief, you taught me, delivered me from cruelty. I had fallen unless I had believed to see the goodness in the land of the living. Wait, be of good courage, and thy heart shall strengthen. You shall see miracles.
Wow, this is beautiful. Talk to us. Tell us about writing this.
Well, thank you so much, Rabbi. Here is the scrap of treasure that I found in my father's apartment after he died, on which he had written that first phrase of Psalm 27.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so I felt deeply moved to write this. He's been gone since January 2005. He was a very spiritual man. I've been thinking so much about my parents, and this is a love poem to my father, to my mother, to the path of grief that has awakened me, that continues my spiritual journey, and the preciousness of life, how our appreciation for that deepens and grows, our acceptance of our parents for who they were and are, and the love that we are the embodiment of through them. So it was just a very personal journey, and I'm very grateful to be able to be part of this class and share it. Thank you.
Did you know when you saw that piece of paper where it was from?
Well, yeah, it's my father's handwriting, and it says.
No, but you know that it does say that it says Psalm 27?
It says Psalm 27 and on the other side, he had written a fragment of Psalm 25. My eyes are ever looking to the Lord, for he shall pluck my feet.
Do you have the piece of paper with you? Can you show it to us?
It's right here.
Would you hold it up to the camera? So we would love to see that. Oh, hold on, I can't see you now. Just a second. Let's see how. Maybe Harold will take down the, oh, wow, look at that. I see it now.
Yeah.
Wow, so do you think he kept that in his pocket?
So I think that he used it as a bookmark. And
beautiful. How gorgeous is that?
When I found it in his apartment, it was so deeply moving to me because I understood that he had written it to himself as a comfort. And also an expression of how deep his faith was. And I've kept it. I use it as a bookmark in one of my little daily reading books that actually belonged to him, that I had given to him.
Did he have a book of Psalms? Do you know?
Well, my father was a philosophy professor. He was certainly a student of the Bible and the Psalms and literature. He was a poet also. So I know he knew them very, very deeply.
Wow, that is so meaningful. And how beautiful that this psalm, which talks about, again, and it brings out what some of you have said, that the abandonment by a mother and a father can also be death. It's not just the emotional abandonment, which is so real for some readers of the Psalm. For others, it's talked about losing a parent or both parents and experiencing them primarily through grief and loss. And that's also such a powerful, powerful reading. And to see the father of the Psalm being your father is just really beautiful. And what a deep connection. Thank you for that, Julie. Gorgeous. And I loved seeing that, the piece of paper. And also from a time people hand wrote something that was important to them, right? Instead of everything being typed. Just see that, see his handwriting. What?
It's actually a section of a 3x5 card that he cut off. And so his whole life was a total whirlwind, especially at the end. But it was very powerful finding this right after he died, and it's very precious to me. Always has been. So to be able to use it,
wow. And I want to point out once again that one verse, two verses can be taken out and be your, like Randy had got in, what she did in Israel by having that calligrapher put into gorgeous calligraphy the sentence of Achat Sha'alti, that now it hangs in your office, Randy, or where do you have it hanging?
It's in our dining room.
In your dining room. So that's a very beautiful thing to do, to take a verse and to integrate it into the art or the day-to-day life of your life. So I'm just so deeply moved. All right, I think that's going to end for today, and we are going to regroup on September 30th, not the day after Yom Kippur, right, Harold, but the day after the day after.
Day after the day after.
And we will then go every day, keep going. So that's going to, September 30th is a Wednesday. And we will send a note out. Harold will, of course, in his brilliant, loving shepherding of all of us, remind us. But we'll be spending a lot of time together in these next 10 days. And I look forward to this journey of these Aseret Yemei Tshuva, these 10 days of journeying through return with all of you.
So we have something, Adria, over to you to tell us how you're going to play us out for your last playing for us for the year 5780.
Well, I don't think this needs any introduction. So,
okay.
Shana Tova, sweet, very happy and healthy New Year. Thank you. I just want to thank everybody for the inspiration and the support and the love that happens here every morning. It is life-sustaining, and I'm very grateful to all of you. Shana Tova.
You're going to hear that tomorrow night, everybody. Shana Tova. And for those, we're doing a Zoom funeral for Nancy Weiner's mother. You should have gotten the information in an email last night at noon. She's being buried in Florida. But you could all be at the funeral. Isn't this amazing? And then there's a Shiva tonight. Nancy and Judy will be coming back on Sunday or Monday from Florida. But the information went out. If you need it, just let us know. But it went out in that condolence note last night for both Zooms. So let's be there for Nancy, for those of us. Shana Tova, a sweet year full of learning and growing and spiritual awakening, whatever may come. Much love to everybody. I'll miss you next week, but we'll be together for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and then our class will continue.
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.